Well, it's been another 2 weeks and I haven't really done anything. I probably have done lots of stuff, but it feels like I haven't done anything. There's Benji. It is like just after 5 a.m. in the morning. Yes, it's light because we're in the subtropics, and one day I'll show you those ponds with all the fish and stuff in them. I haven't moved any of those tanks. I'm not going to set them up there. I think I'm going to set up a few more of these tubs for cichlid grow out. And if you haven't seen any of these are all my Malawi cichlids, so Alunacara. These guys and girls there that are waiting to be fed. So yeah, I think a lot has kind of happened fish-wise. I haven't really done anything, but the fish have been breeding. So now usually I feed them a lot of Vitalis food, but I also feed them this stuff, which is your Diamax food, because a lot of people are asking what I'm feeding the fish. It's just a flake. They eat the flake. Yeah, they like it. It's relatively cheap. Does Benji want some flake? You're not having fish food. So I think one of these, 500 grams, and you get double what you see in there because it comes in 2 little compressed foil things, bags. What's that retail for? 60 bucks, which is a lot cheaper than some of the other brands. But again, there's fillers and different stuff in different foods. But the fish go for it, obviously. And fish eating food is good because that's what you want your fish to do. Anyway, what we should do is I'm going to go through a few of all the fish that are breeding in here. There's some more Tanganikans that are breeding. The Malawi cichlids are getting bigger, and obviously those are Malawis. These are not Malawis. This is just a little setup with aquaponics, just growing a few random weird plants and bits and pieces. A whole lot of Central American cichlids in here. Mostly convicts, but I think there's some red devils in there and all sorts of stuff. I know. There's a lot of grow out. Whoop, if I trip over stuff. As I put my food on top of my filters. Now, in this tank, if we can kind of see, lots of rostratus. They're getting a decent size. So I'm going to grow these up so I know males and females, because I need a whole lot more girls. There is the albino blue dolphins. I know, it's kind of awkward to sort of show you. If I put some food in, we can kind of see them like that. Okay, so we've got some albino blue dolphins. We have rostratus, which are the spotty coloured ones. These are all Malawi cichlids, and a whole lot of electric yellows. They're probably about, how big are you now? Maybe 5-6 centimetres, give or take. So when they get about 10 centimetres or so, the male rostratus is going to start to colour up, and yeah, then I will work out which ones I'm keeping and the rest of them will be for sale. And down here, which you really can't see because of the sun. So if I block it, go like that, little multi-shell dwellers. Now they have finally got little babies in there somewhere, but really, really hard to see. I haven't got any lights for these tanks, and yeah, at night it's dark. In the daytime like this, you get sort of that sun hitting it. But that's like probably for the first hour or so. So you don't really want sun hitting your tank the whole day because you're going to get algae problems. But that's about as much light as they get. So enough to see the food, but you can't really see the fish. Yeah, there's a lot of fish in that top tank. All these tanks are connected, by the way. Yeah, I don't know if I should bother telling you every video how it all runs and stuff like that. But I'll add a little bit more to this video if you haven't seen any of my other ones. But Awazi canister filters. Yes, we're pumping water from one tank to another tank. Well, actually this tank here is pumping to that tank. This tank is overflowing. That's just got my bigger breeders in it. To that tank down there. I usually feed them pellets, but they can have some flake food while we're talking to them because they're just going to get cranky and stuff. Bigger rostratus and stuff in there. I know you can't see them because I haven't cleaned my algae. What a shame. Anyway, yeah, so that pump there is pumping water from that 4 foot to this one. That is overflowing into that tank. That tank is overflowing into here. This tank, I know, it's like the knee bone's connected to the elbow bone, but it's not. The water is going into this tub here, back into here. There are no fish in this tub. And then there's a pump in there, a great white pump from Delua, that there, pumping the water up this black pipe, and it just trickles back into these tanks. So it goes into this one, into that one. There is, another pump there, which is that Awazi canister filter there, pumping the water from this tank to this one, and then it is pumping back in there. So there's water going in like that, and in like that from that tank. So all these tanks are connected to that. That is connected to that, which is just my temporary sump. And also this water here is pumping into these tanks here. And I will turn the lights on these in a little bit because I don't think you can see the fish without the lights going. But I did have them going late last night, and I think I've used all my battery of my lights. Well, all the lights are on solar at the moment, which is just this old solar battery thing with cobwebs on it. So I think I just need to, yeah, we're a little bit low on battery, but we've probably got enough battery to go through this bay of tanks, so we're going to do that soon. But yeah, all the water is just trickling down in here. I've got it dripping in a few of them like this because there's little baby fish in here. Probably a little bit too much going through that system and not enough going through that system, but you tweak it as you go. So more Malawi cichlids in here. Some albino electric yellows, which is an electric yellow without the black. I know, weird but true. So, and I just got my first batch of babies from them. They're in that little egg tumbler there. Starting to grow their little tails. Well, at least we can see that. I may not need to turn a light on for this particular tank, but that is just an egg tumbler. So all these tanks are connected. Look how yellow they look with the light going through them. I know. With the blue lights on, they do not look yellow, but hey, it's yellow. There is a lot of fish in here eating a lot of food. I think I've got about maybe 200 or 300, I'm guesstimating. Decent sized cichlids in here. They just grow out. Yeah, we went through a population explosion of Alunicara, which are just these peacocks. If I can find that nice male, look at the male at the back. Look, displaying, he wants to breed. There's probably a couple of mouthfuls there. But yeah, there's a few really nice males in there, which I'll bring into the shop in the next couple of weeks. But that is how that system works. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 4-foot tanks and about 500 litres. Pumping all in together. So it's a big water volume, so it keeps the water stable, etc, etc, etc. This tank here, oh, where do we start? This tank, this system, 6 foot with a whole lot of 2-footers, and yeah, they're just drilled so the water pumps from the bottom. A little tiny sump at the back there. So now my sumps are not filters, and this kind of makes a lot of people weird, I think, but my sumps, there's your tail, are just really an area for water. So all these 2-foot tanks are not just 50, 60 litres. The whole system itself, I think we've got like 500 litres, give or take, down the bottom, which is a 6x2. And then we've got about 50 litres per tank here. And we got 6 on one, 6 on another. So yeah, 12 of those with one of those, and that's just one system. And the water just pumps up through these very old pipes, trickles down in there, overflows, and this system, it overflows that tank to that one, that tank to that one to that one. So if I turn that tank off, that tank turns off. But all the filters in here are just sponge filters at the back. And yes, these are tadpoles, and a lot of people ask me why I've got so many tadpoles. It's because when you keep frogs, they breed. Yeah. Why don't I just save 2 of them, you say? Well, you get some cool morphs and stuff. So these are all spotted marsh frogs. You do need a license in Queensland to keep any amphibians and reptiles, and you can only keep Australian natives. But yeah, I grow them up, pick the ones I want to keep, and yeah, the other ones are available. They're just a small frog, but you need a license for them. Yeah, and a lot of them eat each other, etc, etc, etc. So it's not like you're going to get a million survive. I do have a lot of frogs. I know. We're not even going to show you the frog wall because it's early morning, but that is a wall of frogs. They're in there. Oh, there's one. We're not going to be able to focus on you. There we go. An albino spotted marsh frog. True story. I know, probably needs more dragons, but there's no dragons. Oh wait, there is. But we'll show you the dragons in another video. Well, I've got one old dragon left. Yes, dragon, yeah, don't worry about that. But anyway, I have lots of tadpoles, so tadpoles are now taking up 5 of my 2-foot tanks. And then in here we have some cubensis. What do we got? We've got albino cubensis and normal cubensis. These are probably about a month away from being big enough to sell. Now, the normal ones grow faster than the albinos, thanks to the wonders of genes and all that wonderful stuff. But They are lovely looking fish. And if we have a look up here, there is Dad. There are more babies in here. There's a baby right on the filter. That's just a regular normal one. Now the cool thing with albino kilbensis is, yeah, it's not a recessive gene. So 2 albinos, so Dad and Mum, and of course she's there. I'm gonna grab some food and come back, hold on. I probably should remember to stop cutting when I feed stuff, but I'm feeding them this massive Achieve. I am not sponsored by Dimax. I'm not sponsored by anyone, so yeah, I'm just feeding them what I want to feed them, which is pretty much the way that everything works here. If it's an absolutely rubbish food, I'm not going to feed them, so you won't see a few other brands and stuff like that. And yeah, it'll change over time what I feed my stuff as well. And yeah, if you're a wholesaler and you're watching and you want me to try some food, feel free to send me some food. Now that we've got food in there, and oh, the tank next door is just a massive corydoras. A couple of years ago, I did go through a whole lot of corydoras breeding, and I don't know, I got over it pretty quick, but I still breed the odd random ones here and there. There's a couple of red hyphen swords I need to dump them in one of my pools at the moment. Now, if we slow, there is the girl, there's the boy to the right. He is nowhere near as colourful as she is. Come on, turn around so we can see your lovely colour. Oh, you shy thing. Okay. Don't film animals, they say. Animals and children. Children of animals, which are these tiny little fish. Ha ha ha. But she is a lovely looking fish. There you go. You can kind of see it. That's all you're going to get. The yellow and the pinks. So that is a new batch of babies. There is a fair few of them in there, wherever they've gone. I know, it is early morning, they're still waking up. There's a whole lot of little endlers and guppies and a few random swordtail babies in here which haven't got wiped out by them. So they're good parents and they don't really wipe everything out. So there's a couple of bristlenose lurking around in there as well behind the heater. But yeah, a whole lot of babies at the back there. There you go, you can kind of see them in that tank a little bit better. Corydoras, I don't know, there is just a massive corydoras. There you go, comment down below if you know what species these are. There's probably about 15 species in this tank. Yeah, anyway, we've got our longfin bronze, looking absolutely lovely. I do have some smaller longfin bronze I need to bring in to the shop. Little guys in there that have been growing up. We have our gold lasers next door. Now, I did get some babies from these the other month. I don't know where I put them. Oh, I do know where I put them. I'll try and show you in this video. So gold lasers. We have our super, super cool albino peppards, which look different than the other ones. Oh, and then we have some aspidoras in here breeding. Now, I've only kept aspidoras for the last year, and they are weird. They're like an elongated corydoras, smaller than a corydoras, bigger than a pygmy corydoras, different behavior. And look at their longness. I know, it's like someone stretched out a corydoras. Yeah, they breed pretty well, and they tend to trigger a little bit different than cories. Like I haven't done anything to the system to trigger them, and they're breeding happily at the moment. Let's probably see what temperature it is. pH-wise, that's at about 7.3 to give you an idea, and moderate hardness. Okay, unheated we are 23.7 in Celsius or 74.6 Fahrenheit. Yeah, so that seems to be triggering the aspidoras pretty well. And they're mostly fed pellets and stuff like that. Yeah, look at them go crazy. And that's the weird thing too. The females look like males. And before someone says I've only got males, no, I've got males and females because we have fry of them. And I'll show you the fry in a little bit. But yeah, that is sort of where we are with that system. Not a lot happening. Well, a little bit happening. I think I've got some fry in a tub here. There's some baby fish. And those are T-bar convicts. Yeah, I sort of saved a little batch of them. They are in this tank, but they're going to be super shy, and I need to move them. Haven't moved them yet. I'm pretty sure I've still got a big male in the shop available. Yeah, I'm going to try and get some more of these in the shop in the next week or two. So if you don't know my shop, Paul's Aquariums in Brisbane. Oh, look, that poor one that's been bullied at the back. Going to separate that thing out. Jeez, mingy much. Yeah, they can be super aggro, but they're like a convict, but different species. This tank here, all those fry at the back, There they are. Oh, I should probably go through this system now. Okay, this system is the same idea as that system. It is a 6x2 down the bottom. They're not 2 foot high, they're about 50 or 45 centimeters, something like that. But the water from the bottom pumps into these, but unlike this system, these tanks have got a separate overflow. So if I turn that tank off, this one has still got water going through it. So just a different system set up again. And these ones, the overflows are underneath the bottom of the tank. It is easy to do that. All you need to do is get a fitting, drill a hole and connect some pipes, and the water overflows into the next one or into your sump. So this one has same sort of idea, so it's got a hole drilled at the back and the water overflows into a pipe down the back into the sump. And in the sump I have, there's a fancy black ghost knifefish, there are some random catfish, there is a wild caught Oscar in there because I didn't have anywhere to put him, so he's probably about that size. So if any fish escape and go through the overflow, fall through the overflow, they go inside the Oscar. Yeah, where that sump there, tons of shrimp in there and all sorts of coolness. And a few baby cichlids from when I had a ton of little cichlids in there, so they're starting to eat the shrimp. So I really need to get there at night with a torch and hunt them down. And you can kind of see heaps of pipe work, heaps of rocks. So there's a albino bristlenose, go figure. I'm sure, there's a shrimp right there. Nothing too fancy in there. I know, my shrimp tanks around the side are still a freaking mess. You can't see in there. There's a shrimp. There's a shrimp. I know, I still need to move this mess, but that's on my list of things I don't really want to bother doing. So I just feed them water change and don't really look at them. Same as most fish. Anyway, so this system here, water goes through and overflows back into there. I can turn the taps off, and every one of these tanks has a sponge filter, so I can isolate individual tanks. Water quality in this system is probably hovering about 6.9-ish or so. I think the last time I checked it a couple of days ago. So it hovers around that 7 pH. I try not to let it go too acidic. I have added extra sand beds for my puffers, and there's one right there. So I wanted to see if they'll bury themselves in the sand because it's a normal behavior. That one kind of has, sort of, kind of. But yeah, and apart from that, I've just taken the plants out of there because they started chomping the plants. I've got a few little endless live bearers just to keep them company. I know every now and then we're missing an endless live bearer, but cool pufferfish, freshwater puffers. They're just growing up in there, going to get a lot bigger. Anyway, back to these. These are baby synspillum. So these are the synspillum, if you've seen any of my shorts that were breeding in the main big tank. I decided to save like half of them, sort of thing. So there's probably a couple of hundred of them in there. Oh, there's some right at the front. Just starting to eat deshelled baby brine shrimp. And again, deshelled baby brine shrimp is probably the easiest food to feed. And I don't have the packet in front of me, but I've got it in this Vitalis container. How's that for cross-contaminating the brands? Yeah. So it is baby brine shrimp that's been deshelled and it's dry, so you can mix it with water. I'm going to balance that there. I'm going to see, none of this is staged because I'm balancing stuff. Oh, look how dodgy this is. I know. Tip that in there. I do know to put my lid back on it. Now, where have we got a little dropper? I don't even know. I'm totally disorganized. Have you noticed? It's sort of organized chaos. I'm very alert. Such an awesome pufferfish. Okay, I have no idea where I put my little dropper. Damn. That's difficult and also annoying. Okay, well, we'll come back to that, why that soaks. But what you want to do is you want to soak it like that for about 5 minutes so it absorbs all the water. And then you can feed it instantly to baby fish. I know, you don't have to hatch brine shrimp in that. Now, there's a lot of fish that do need live food, which makes it a right pain. These little guys and girls need live food. And these are our little Senegal Bichir, or Bircher, as I love to call them. I've moved them off the floor. They were on a tank, well, in a tank on the floor, and now they're in the tanks. Yeah, so a little bit easier to see them. There's one right there. Now these are eating microworms, newly hatched baby brine shrimp, and blackworms are just a little bit too big for them. Those are blackworms there, which is close on the same size as them. I did see one or two try and tackle them down. So at this stage it gets awkward because some of them are big enough for the blackworms. Oh, we can't focus on those ones. Let's find some close by to focus on. There we go, there's one right there. Yeah, so it's just that in-between size where they're too small to eat blackworms, but they're a little bit too big to eat baby brine and microworms. It's just awkward at the moment. But I'm growing up another batch of those. Oh, that one just took a nip. Well, he's trying. If they can snap a worm in half. Oh, he's got a worm. Oh, who's a good boy? Aren't they cool? They look like little dinosaurs. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I think that worm might be a little bit too big for you. Oh well. But they won't eat stuff like this. They'll try it, but it takes them probably about another month or so to get onto pellets. So we're just feeding them microworms and baby brine and just seeing how they all go. But there's a whole lot of them in there. That is obviously same system as this, but we've only got a few drips going through. And I've got like a little mesh strainer on my overflow. So the main filtration is that sponge filter. Just makes it easier to check them and maintain them and all that wonderful stuff. Next door we have all our tetras that we bred. So yeah, I think I might move these on. So these are emperor tetras, not terribly exciting. I've got a few albino hoplos in there as well growing up because all my bigger ones seem to be males. But I am swapping two of those for the Hoplosternum albinos. So these are spotted hoplos. I know you can't really see them. Let's go to the Hoplo tank. That might be a little bit easier. Okay. And we're in the Hoplo tank. Now, a lot of these hoplos I've bred myself, except for the albinos. So we've got short-bodied, we've got normal ones, we've got all the Senegals in here. And yeah, 90% of the fish in this tank I've bred myself over the years, except for these super, super cool dusty hatchet fish. How awesome are they? I know. Okay, no one comes into the shop later today. I'm pinching the last 6 in the shop because I want a bigger group of them. How absolutely amazing are they? Water's a little bit murky because I heavily feed these fish, but this is a 6 by nearly 3 foot by 3 foot low iron fancy tank. Look at that. That's one piece glass up the top. Dirty, but one piece glass made by Denison Marianne's Aquariums. Yeah, fancy tank. And it's just got these fish in it. I know, it really should be like a full marine reef tank, shouldn't it? One day, maybe. The rate I'm going, it probably will be. There is my little platinum Senegal. He's a he. Still looking mingy. I know, just not the right shape. But anyway, hoplos, these are spotted hoplos, which is different than your Hoplosternum. Different fish altogether. They have spots, and there's the albinos. Yeah, I thought I had 2 boys, 2 girls, but I've got 4 boys. So we're swapping 2 of those with the other types of hoplo. Yeah, we'll get into there in a little bit. And yeah, so I'm growing these up hoping there'll be a couple of girls. I think I've only got 3 in there, I'm sure. See, I don't even know how many I've got. 3, I'm pretty sure. We have some rainbows. Yeah, I know, they're colouring up. They're starting to look rainbowy. We have, yeah, that's about it in there. Rainbows, woo, rainbows. Now, all these tanks are bare bottom at the moment, just for ease of feeding them with blackworms and stuff like that, and pellets, so that they actually get them all. And I don't have a heap of detritus building up. So if you have a heap of detritus building up, which is just all that leftover gunk, that's not food, that's like waste and stuff like that, that can drop your pH pretty quick. And when you've got a lot of tanks and you work 24 hours a day, yeah, you don't want that to happen, because all of a sudden your pH goes from 7 to 5 and then things start rolling over and dying, and you don't want things dying, do you? You're very alert this morning. 1 pufferfish out of 3 is alert. Awesome. Anyway, in here we have some longfin bristlenose, so longfin calicos, longfin normals carrying the calico gene. Yeah, that's the only bristlenose I'm really breeding at the moment. Look how obedient you are. You're a good boy. Benji's nearly 16 now, aren't you? Yes, you are. He's like, I'm going to shake because you patted me. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, there's probably the only ones I breed. There are countless bristlenose in random other tanks eating algae and stuff like that as well. In here, I have all my leucistic Kerry tetras. Such a cool tetra. No one wanted them. I'm sure I still got some in the shop as well. Go really nice, bluey, purple haze to them. I know, the light is not doing them justice in this tank, but they're just there because I've just taken them out of the system, which we'll go through in a second, because other things are breeding in there at the moment. Down the bottom, we have the babies from the ones up above. So these are all but long fin calico bristlenose. Long fin calico bristlenose. Oh, if we can focus, there you go. You can kind of see them a little bit better there. Yeah, I am hopeless at growing up bristlenose. I don't know. I'm just, yeah, not 100% into it, I suppose. Well, there's another batch in there. You can see a tail. Once you see a tail, you see a few tails. Really? You're making a noise? Oh. He's doing the whole cough, 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 pat me. There's a couple there looking pretty. Look how awesome that fish is. So I do have these available from time to time in the shop. My babies are a little bit too small to sell, but we get them in pretty regularly. Usually every couple of weeks or so. Awesome, awesome sucker fish, I suppose you could say. Now, because I haven't got the lights going on that yet, and we're just waiting for it to charge. It's not even charging. That's how early we are with no sun. Let's have a look at this tank because the lights are on in here. Silver cichlids not doing anything because it's a whole lot of blokes. Yep. And my girls are still in a grow-up pond. They're like that big, so way too small. Wild-caught Oscar. Annoying giant gourami, female Spillum, boys Spillum, Geophagus fen. What else have we got? All the catfish you can't see because they always hide. Catfish, catfish. That is got to be one of the most awesome catfish in the world. Giant Raphael cat, but you never see them. I know, I've had it for what, 5, 6 years, never see it. Oh, look at your eye. Jeez, okay, you can definitely see your eye. Female wolf cichlid, I've got a pond full of those growing up at the moment, so getting her a little bit bigger for her boyfriend in the 9-footer there. Oh, and I should probably go through these tanks. These are 9 foot by 4 foot by 2.5 foot. 2 of those joined on a sump, which is about 1,100 litres back there. All these tanks down below, which most of them are empty except for that one, and I'll deal with that when I deal with that. These are 3 foot by 4 foot by 2 foot. And there's 6 of those, pretty much all empty except for one right now, because for the last 2 years, I have not done the plumbing. Very slack, I know, but hey, oh, there's one of the tigers. Lovely fish. Now, I've never bred these. That is a boy, you can tell by his fin there. I got 2 boys and a girl. I'm pretty sure she's big enough to breed, but I just need to condition them. And they're a very big fish. I don't think they're going to be big enough to breed in this 3-footer. So I may need to do a 4-footer to spawn them. Oh, there she is. She's a lot bigger than he is. They want food. They're like, why are you filming me when you could be feeding me? I know. Well, actually, yeah, where's my pellets? Sitting there. Benji's such a good boy. He doesn't even eat stuff when it's on the floor. Okay, now we know to open that first. Let's just give them a few of those. Now these are not overly huge pellets. They do have, I think this is what Massive achieved. They've got a Jumbo achieved pellet, which is a ton bigger than that, which I usually feed these. But there we go. That'll keep them quiet. She's not going to be impressed. She's going to go, what are you feeding me? Oh, there's a bloody albino catfish. Get your face away. Thank you. Yeah, nah, look, she's like, you can't feed me that. That's too small. Oh, cichlids are eating it anyway. Whole heap of silver dollars from Derek. Yeah, if you're watching this, Derek, hello. Here's your silver dollars. I do want them out of this tank. Yeah, there's a lot of silver dollars in here. Probably too many. A couple of pink tails lurking around at the back. Rescue Oscars. And while we're here, I should give them some food as well. All these, this is probably the right size pellet for these tetras and senegals. A lot of food, yes. A lot of fish, yes. A lot of fish eat a lot of food. There's all my baby Senegals. They've actually grown huge. So congratulations to anyone that's got all the babies in the last month or two off me. That's what they look like now. Awesome fish. I will have more once that other little batch grows up, but they're just an awesome, awesome, awesome fish. I know I say awesome a lot, but they're awesome. How can you not want those? What a mess. Giant, big mess. Had a couple of golden severums as well. I think one boy, two girls. Where's the other one? I can't even see the other one. Oh, way at the back. Way in the murk now because it's instantly just stirred everything up. So yeah, hopefully breed them soon as well. That's sort of it. There's more catfish in here, featherfin squeakers, all sorts of stuff. That's such a nice geophagus. Yeah. In this tank, we have peacock bass. We have more hemianthus cats, which they used to call them an albino Asian red-tailed cat, but they're not red-tailed cats. They're related to the Asian red-tailed cats. Absolutely nasty piece of work. Giant gourami, hello. Wolf cichlid, hello. That thing, if you can kind of see it, sooty grunter. And there you are. Oh, that is going to be the... Who did that? Okay, peacock bass decided to harass the Saratoga. Come over here, Saratoga. Come on. Nah, he's not going to come over there. That's got to be the dumbest sort of angle ever to try and get that. But Saratoga, redfin cigar sharks, they're huge now. They're over 6 foot. No, 2 foot. Over 2 foot. Why did I say 6 foot? They don't get 6 foot. A couple of Oscars. There he is. Yeah, just, I don't know, just a bit of a mess right now. And that brings us to around here. We did really well with our first batch of eggs, these discus. And then we got flukes and it killed most of my babies. I know. And then they laid eggs and they ignored the rest of their babies. I separated them, they did not survive. So we're waiting on batch number 2 from this pair. That pair still sucks. This pair, red clovers, I'm pretty sure I got eggs behind there. This pair I think are about to go on batch number 4 of eggs. So maybe by about 10 or 11 they're going to be okay. So hopefully one day they will actually have a good batch. Yeah, just peppermints in there. Nothing in that tank because all the extra discus are now available for sale. I have... No, those are the red clovers, red clover or whatever you call them. Whatever those are, they're the other red ones. And there is another pair of them in there, which you cannot see behind that pole. These tanks are old, like 23, 24 years old. Scratches, chips in them, they hold water. One day, I'm going to have a proper rack system with new tanks, new stands that aren't old, cut down, rusty. One day, that is the hope. But anyway, these tanks, if you haven't seen the other video, are roughly about 100 litres. I think they are 60 centimetres by 50 centimetres by 45, give or take. And they are overflowed down the bottom. That tank goes into this tank. This overflows. Goes into my sump, which is just a poly filter. We have a pump down the bottom there. A couple of titanium heaters. I still have a Diamax canister running on that because that was my biological media from the other tank when I moved over to this system. And the water just goes through this Tempest Evolution Aqua filter. I have a temperature controller. We're at 27.7. My diluent pump there, I think it's a 4,000 litre pump, so yeah, it's on 14 out of 20 on the settings, and a whole power cord just sitting there because, yeah, I know, I'm the only one that sort of comes down here and does all this sort of stuff, so yeah, that is where we are with that. So a little bit of a mess, but it's working really well. The discus got to like that size, and then flukes, so I've been treating them with that stuff there, which is the Vogel from Easy Life. And I did have a little bit of Prazi Pro, which you can't really get in Australia, but it's online. So, you know, yeah, I don't sell that. I do sell the Vogel though. So what we should do is, this is turning into a long video and I kind of need to go to work soon. The groper We'll do the groper another time. You just destroyed another wave maker, didn't you? Yes, you did. Here's a big fish in a big tank. That tank's a little bit bigger than that one. So, and I need to upgrade him pretty quick. So I'm going to do that hopefully in the next month or so. Let me turn the lights on and hopefully, well actually before we do that, let's look down here, Benji, because it's continuous dog patting. Now, easy to film these because they're blind cave tetras. I have introduced them to spawn in here. Now they were spawning. I know, are you distracted by Benji's tail? Well, I have to give you pats because you're right there. So yeah, they are spawning in here. There's a male chasing the female. I have my lovely pink nest of, what's that called, spawning mop. And I've got a grate at the bottom. Really? Who's jumping? Someone's jumping. Yeah, so they are spawning in there and I saw them eat eggs this morning, so they're definitely spawning. So I do want to get a nice batch of those. I bred them before, they're just such a cool, weird fish. Look at that. So I've got a batch in there and the rest of the boys and stuff in there because I've got a whole lot of boys in there. That's enough pats for you. Come on, shoo, shoo. Okay, more pats. So yeah, that's what's down the bottom. There's an assortment of all sorts of wonderful stuff down there, but we'll show you another time of that. Okay, let's see if we've got enough power to turn our lights on. Oh, it's getting old. Okay, we have one light going in here, so let me turn that full on. Here's our little tiny shell dwellers in here. Going awesomely. There is a whole heap of them in here. So these are little orange fin ones. Lamprologus. Yeah, I'm sure they're a Lamprologus. I'm pretty sure they used to be a Neo-Lamprologus. Whole lot of babies in there. Those are the eggs in the egg tumbler. So those are your albino, what do I call them? Albino electric yellows. In here, we have some black calvus. And that's the ironic thing about black calvus. When they're babies, they look like gold compressiceps. But those are black calvus. Otherwise known as sand with eyes. Yep. And then in this tank, we have some more. These ones are a little bit younger. Still got their little egg yolk, still wiggling around. They're probably about a week away before they actually turn into things that look like fish. And I accidentally fed them the other day, hence why there's some brine shrimp in there, but they're a little bit too, was that a mosquito larvae? I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, they're a little bit too small to eat their brine shrimp, whoopsie. But there's some brine shrimp in there when they're ready. These ones are definitely big enough to eat their brine shrimp. And if we have a look in this tank, there are some bigger ones again. So I think I'm on my third batch or so of these. Yeah, doing well. Don't do much at this size. I'll show you the adults in a second. Turn that light off because, yeah, I don't think we've got, yeah. Oh, it's starting, whoop. We've got 3 watts of light out there. Okay, let's turn that on. Spook you all. I'm sorry, fish. Yeah, don't do that to fish. They're used to it slowly lighting up. Now, those are the parents. There is, where's Dad gone? That's both mums. Okay, that's mum and mum. There's Dad at the back. How lovely are they? They are such a nice looking fish. So these are Tanganicans, high pH, so you want your pH between 8 and 9. So that system there is about 8.5. This system here is probably about 8.8 or so. I don't run it too high, but that's still pretty high. All the trophies are doing well. And yeah, just starting to change colors. So they will go from those dotty colors to a blue face and a yellow stripe. And same with those. How lovely are those? I know. So they're just starting to get their color. Well, they probably got more color than they did in the last video about a month ago. So almost adult coloration. That's definitely a male, that cool orange one there. I do need to separate them, but at the moment I've just got to group together so they don't kill each other. In this little tiny trap here, which is just a magnet to the side with an air stone in it, we have another batch. Look how little they are. They are so small. So these are little shell dwellers as well. You really have to baby them when they're small because they're just such a tiny, tiny little fish. Easy to do water changes on this because it overflows in the main tank. So I just get a old cup like that, pour a little bit of water in, stir them around a tiny little bit. They all shoot to the bottom when you put water in. They're in there somewhere. There they are. And then that just overflows into the main tank. So every few days I'm doing that, they're fine. If I had it just rigged up like one of these, with the water going into it, then going back in, they would all end up in the main tank. So let me turn that light off because, yeah, we don't have enough power to have them all going right now. Ah, totally spooked them. Okay, parents are in here. So we have our feather fins completely freaking out. I have my Dimby Aquariums as diverfish, which is not really working because this tank is right on the floor and they do not like it on the floor. When the light's on, they do not like it. We're going to slowly turn over there. There they are. So feather fins, nah, they're not liking me film them with the light on. They were quite happy in the dark. Those are some Calvis there and some compressor seps. I don't know if, I'm sure the compressor seps and the Calvis will crossbreed, but haven't had them crossbreed yet. I'm sure they'd be ugly if they did. That is a gold compressor seps there. All the black Calvis are completely hiding. That's what those tails are, sticking in those logs. And Benji is right here, sucking up the pats. Oh, there's a nice girl there. That's what they look like. How pretty is that fish? That's a lovely looking girl. And the boys are a lot buffier and a lot more black with speckles to them. They're just all completely hiding because they don't want to be filmed. Yes, do not film us. That's pretty much what they're saying. Let me turn that off. They can go back into the darkness and be happy. Let's turn this light on. Now the corydoras. Ha ha ha. Okay, I keep redoing it. Oh, there is a huge girl. No, cannot even see her now. There she is. I'm just going to leave them like this, and eventually we're going to find fry because we saw them spawn several times. Yeah, they've got a deep substrate bed there, just feeding them lots of live worms, lots of meaty foods. We've got the water dripping through. This whole system here is 2-foot tanks again, all hooked up to a sump at the back. And the water pH is probably about 6.2, 6.4 at the moment, and low mineral hardness to them. So different again than all these sort of setups. And I just realized this video is getting quite long. We have all our Hoplos in, no, not Hoplos, Ottos. See, Ottos sounds like Hoplos. All our Ottos in here, which we do want to spawn soon. We're just conditioning them. And I have a few more Aspidoras somewhere in the back as well. So there's some Aspidoras, looking huge compared to the Ottos, but they're just generally doing their thing. In here I have the black or brown corydoras, being all corydochi. Going to try them in a different setup. So they've just got leaf litter, mulch, and a lot of plants in there. We'll see if they ever spawn. They probably will. This tank, we've just got all our tetras. So we've got albinos, and we've got longfin albino cherry barbs, which there's always babies of them. There we go. We can focus on you. There's a baby. There'll be a fair few of them in there again. And that's just an easy breeding trap method that they'll spawn in there. The eggs go up into this little container, and then the water just trickles gently back in. Let me turn these lights off. Turn this light on. Albino cardinals at the back. Some cool cories in there. Oh, goodness. There's some baby fish. Okay, baby Aspidoras, baby bristlenose. We have some longfin cherry barbs. What else have we got in here? I'm sure there's other things in here as well. Look at the cute little Aspidoras. Yeah, just generally just lots of little baby fish doing little baby fish stuff. Yeah, so it's just baby grow out at the moment. And I think here I've got that turned off. Have I got that turned off? Yeah, I've got that turned off. So because these babies are a little bit too small, they're just going to end up through the overflow. And if you've seen any of my other videos, all the babies end up everywhere. But yeah, just a whole heap of assorted stuff. So longfin cherry barbs are almost big enough to sell. I reckon another month for the people that have wanted them, and they'll be good to go. And they color up absolutely amazing. Yeah, once they actually look like fish and they're not just like tiny, tiny little specks. In this tank here, we have our pygmy cory colony way at the back. They spawned again the other day. Don't see any eggs on the glass. They must have all hatched. And again, in here, we have our Hoplos. These are the short-bodied Hoplos. They have yet to spawn. They keep building massive nests. I moved them yesterday, so there's no nest there at the moment. I think I had too many girls. I had 4 or 5 girls with 1 boy, so now I'm down to 2 girls, 1 boy, which is how I spawned the normal ones, or their parents. Yeah, so we'll let them build a nest and see how they go. Okay, it's probably a little bit late now and I need to go to work. Anyway, thank you very much for watching my video. If you want to watch other videos, there'll be videos on the screen. And thank you very much to all my members. If you want to become a member, you get a discount in my shop on absolutely everything and you get extra videos. Anyway, thank you very much to all the members. We will see you in the next one.